Smoove. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Single on a Saturday night right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave. We have a good time. We do this every fourth Saturday, and you are always welcome to join us. We talk about relationships, situationships, whatever you in. I'm sure you had a relationship with somebody, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. It's all about relationships. I am Shelly Williams, single, never been married, no children. So I'm single every night of the week. There you go.
Daytime and nighttime single?
Go to my right.
I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. I am TC Caldwell, BKA Storm E. Weathers, your big homie. I am single, never been married. We holding on to that hope. Hold on to some hope. Keep hope alive. I am the father of some bright, strong individuals in the future queens. I'll be holding it down. And I'm basically all around Renaissance man, because if I can't do it, baby, it probably can't be done.
Gonna learn today.
Catrice Bailey, single, mother of 3, and owner of Models Like Me Consulting Agency.
Woohoo! We just made the debut of Models Like Me Consulting Agency in the Urban Express's Next Generation Kids Fashion Show. And Catrice did an awesome job with those children. They listened to her, they loved her. They were really fantastic. I love the kids. Listen, I don't have any of my own, so I thank God for all the people who had them, so I can impart my knowledge into them as well as you. Thank you.
And then give them back.
Amen. Holla. All right, it's good.
Awesome. I am Minister Scott Stevens from Beloved St. John. My choir is here. And I am single every night. And happily single.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kristin Johnson. I am single, divorced single, and loving being single again. I am the author of Slayed Yet I Trust Him, so hope to share a little of my story today.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I did. I was
pattern.
really having a...
I am David Scott, better known as Mr. Goodnight, the college professor. I am government single. You understand what government single means?
Say it again, bro.
Government single. I'm the father of 2 girls, the longest tenured man on the panel. Got my brother TC with us, so we're looking forward to expressing the male point of view in this topic. Got quiet.
Yeah, we ain't getting no energy on that. What's up? Yeah.
But I do.
My brother.
I like every time he has a new kind of like a new introduction. I was just waiting to see it. But government single. So I imagine maybe we're all, some of us might be government single. That means you have a significant other. You may not be married because you're single until you get married, because that's what is on the application. Single until you get married.
And some people are daytime single and nighttime single.
Yeah.
They can go out to the daytime, but they can't go out at night.
Yeah, we talk, right.
Yeah, that means single.
Daytime. Remember, we had that conversation, too.
We had that conversation.
Single depending on who's asking me. Whoa, you didn't know that's on camera, right? I'm not single. I love you. I do. Anyway, we're going to get into Kristin D. Johnson. She is a writer, author of the book Slayed, Yet I Trust Him. So when you gather some of the information, reading some of the titles, we got one of the topics, which is, should a Christian date if they are just separated and not divorced? So everybody, most Christians, no. But sometimes you've done it. I believe I've done it. I have dated someone who was separated, and he wasn't divorced, and I got the harshest lesson of my life, and he went back to his wife. That's normally what happens. It happens, right? He said bye-bye to me, went back to his wife, even though that didn't work out either. But either way, he wasn't quite ready, I guess. He was ready to date at that moment. He thought the grass might be greener. However, he went back to his wife. So in that, from a Christian standpoint, I say, no, but from a human, sometimes you get caught up and it happens, then I can say I've done it. So I'm gonna go ask you, what are your thoughts on it? Deacon.
Oh, go ahead. We can throw it out there. Well, one thing that we have that God gave us, He gave us free will. He didn't make us into robots. He made us emotional creatures. He made us creatures to establish some sort of bond, some sort of bond. Some that progress and learn and grow together, some that you progress and learn and it's not quite what it's supposed to be. So there's a lesson, a blessing, a reason, or a season that whomever comes into your life. So if I was to be counseling to guide someone, I would always say, I'm a man. So I might be faulty in my opinion, but pray on it, because God is not going to steer you wrong. So it's kind of hard to say yes or no. All I can say is, my base for everything is talk as much as you can, communicate as much as you can, find out as much as you can about what you're dealing with so that you can at least make an informed decision. If it doesn't work out, you had enough information to see or say, hey, it didn't work out, versus going headstrong, and coming out dead wrong.
Okay, all right. Do you have an opinion? Would you date someone who is separated, not divorced, but separated? Could be 5, 10, 1 year, whatever. Separated.
No.
Oh.
And the reason why I say no is because I know how I am. If you know yourself and you know how you are in a relationship, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to wind up getting hurt. As women, well, and some men too, I know for a Pisces, we love hard. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, I'm head in, like immediately, but not, immediately. So in order to not get hurt, because you never know, the person might go back to that person.
I know that's right.
And when someone comes into your life, it's a lesson in everything that happens. So if they're supposed to come, sometimes that's the test. To say, hold on, wait a minute, are you going to fall for this? Or are you going to actually, say, you know what, something else is around that corner that God has for me? So it's really,
good point.
It's discernment. You got to figure out what you're going to do, and always go to God and ask. Like, is this person for me?
Now, you had this question a long time ago. And go ahead, clear your throat.
I'm glad you asked me.
I'm definitely asking you. Clear your throat. I'm right there.
And we had this question, and it was something that I talk and discuss with people about quite a bit. If you are emotionally and physically remove yourself from that partner of yours, then I think you should be allowed to date with no point of return. Meaning that but the relationship, if you decide to date, you should not commit yourself to that person until everything else is finalized. You can date them, you can talk, you can have the company, you can share in some experiences of just, fellowship, but I don't believe that you should commit to anyone else until that is finalized. But if you have emotionally and physically removed yourself from the person you were involved with, you should be allowed to date.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but it's quiet every time Dave say something.
It's got quiet. So explain. Think about this.
It's quiet every time
I
my brother speak.
I am not returning to my wife. That I am not physically sleeping with her. I don't have any emotional ties to her. The only issue is that we have not finalized, because somebody can take a year, 2 years, 3 years to finalize a divorce. You still should be allowed to have company.
Okay, go with your thought.
That sounds great, but as a married couple, period, once you find out that person is married, in my eyes, I want to do what's pleasing to God. So for me, I have to look at, is this pleasing unto God? I know they're not together, but I still don't know. I can't be second guessing, third guessing. The person can say, we not together, we not in the same room, we have separate houses. But you're still married.
I didn't say I would date them. I say they should be allowed to. If they want to, they should be. I don't want nobody married, divorced, I personally don't want that, but I'm not going to exclude them from being able to go date.
But I understand what you mean when you say they can say. But when it happened to me, this was years ago. But that is what they say. Oh no, we're not together. I don't even like her. I'm not with her. It was all those things. Everything that made you feel, and whatever could convince me, manipulate me to think that I am not with her anymore. That's what he said. But that is definitely not what happened. Eventually he creeped right on back over there. All of a sudden, I fell down the steps, broke my ankle, and at that moment, he started creeping back over to her because he felt like I was maybe damaged good. I don't know. But it was an opportunity because I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Literally, I was just laid up.
If he did not return to her, you would have been okay. If it was finalized, they definitely not getting back. would you still have
No, I'm
stayed
gonna
there?
thank God that it didn't happen. But yeah, no, I mean, we would have still been. That's God saving me. You know how He gives you that way of escape. He gave me a way of escape because I thank God I didn't make it. You have a question? We're gonna go to a break so we can get you a microphone. This is Single on a Saturday Night right here, TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave, every fourth Saturday. You're welcome to join us. Howard Gilliam Jr. New Video Productions. Groove Boy Entertainment, that's Doc Smitty, and of course DJ Smoove is always on the 1 and 2. And I must say, we have our new t-shirts out, Single on a Saturday Night / every night, because most people might be single on a every night. You know, I don't know, depends on who you're talking to.
Daytime, nighttime, single?
Daytime, nighttime, depending on who's talking to me, depending on if you smell good or not. Anyway, let's go to a break. It's Single on a Saturday Night. His name is DJ Smoove. He is available for weddings, bar mitzvahs. He even goes to Jamaica. Man, that's nice. Can I be a DJ? He said, yo, listen, I'll be a DJ. I want to go to Jamaica. Or maybe you could just book me. I'll bring Single on a Saturday Night there. Book me to go to Jamaica.
Yeah.
Listen, can we do Single on a Saturday Night in Jamaica?
When we do that,
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
the energy, yeah. Bring that, speak
Listen,
that into life.
Speak it. I speak it, I believe it, I receive it. Let's go. Listen, don't let me get up here.
Can you see me on time for set in Jamaica, baby? Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
my goodness.
Yeah, it's
I
your
just
big
like the pretty
homie.
water,
Yeah,
so
we
I
on
love
a-
to be in the water somewhere. Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Man.
We are talking about, should a person, Christian or non-Christian, date someone who is just separated, not divorced? It hasn't been final. And I believe we have a comment or question from the audience. Our resident married lady.
From personal experience, I believe you absolutely.
I don't think your mic is on. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I believe from personal experience, you absolutely should not. God don't bless mess. He will not bless mess. When this is my second marriage. When I met him, I was done with my marriage for over a year or so. I met him in January. I told him, give me till April. I need to clean my house out. I need to get myself together. I don't want to involve you in my dumb stuff. I don't want you to come here. And he came by to get mail or whatever. Give me a minute. Let me clean up my life because I knew he was going to be the one for me. I knew it when I saw him.
You know when you saw him?
Yes, I did. And I had to prepare myself. I had to do what God wanted me to do, because if I would have did what I wanted to do, he wasn't going to bless it. So all that making up excuses, I don't mess with him, and I wasn't. But I knew I had to finalize everything before I stepped forward. And I'm telling y'all, he will not bless mess. And let's say, for instance, we still married, but we haven't messed around in anything. I involved myself to him. We committed, we everything, and I died. My husband could have walked in, took over everything, because he's still my husband. I've seen it. People don't change their beneficiaries. Clean your house out. If you want true love, you better clean your house out. I tell everybody, it's not going to work. So you can have all the excuses in the world and make it work for you. If you don't please him, it's not going to work.
And what's your name? What's your name?
Nikki Scott.
Nikki.
Nikki
There you go.
Scott.
I was
No,
trying to
wait.
get it all together, yeah, because I was hearing it,
Scott.
but trying to line it up. But
Scott.
that's the, you said it as perfect as I was trying to. That's what I mean
I
by
lived it.
communication,
I lived
getting
it.
your things in order, settling, because again, you don't want to walk yourself or someone else into a situation that's unmanageable, that's ridiculous, that is potentially harmful.
Exactly.
And like you said, there's what we always talk about, the legal ramifications. Case
I
in
have
point.
a friend that was with a guy for 7 years, y'all. She couldn't even go to his funeral because the wife came and claimed what was hers. They lived together and everything. And she took the girl card because the girl card was in his name. So y'all could try to make it convenient for y'all want. It's not going to work. And that's my personal story, which I just wanted to share today.
No,
Thank
I
you.
understand, but that's a great story. But you ever meet people that say, listen, I am separated, but they always give the but. It's financially I can't separate. Financially I can't get my own place. Financially, I think you got a
So
friend
you
like
think that no matter how many years it takes to get divorced, you still should have to wait to date? No matter how many years?
Pass your
Yes,
microphone
yes.
Here's the thing. when you see something else you want, like I wanted your brother, you will hurry up. You will get it together.
She said, like I wanted your brother.
Yes,
Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will clean your
His name is
house.
Herb
You will
Scott.
You will clean your house up, and you will sacrifice. Because my first husband, he had a really good, I let a lot go financially, but I knew he was going to be worth it.
Hey, look
I
at
knew it was gonna be
that.
worth
I think Mr. Steven down there, but the reason, you got to pass the mic, but in the meantime, in between time, looking at the book, Slave, Yet I Trust Him, that was one of those things that came up because your divorce wasn't instantly. It took some time.
Yeah,
so I asked you, like, did you, what do you think about that whole thing? You got to wait that time. So it took some time for you, but you still obeyed the Lord? I mean, I said it like that, but it was...
Yes. So when I decided to separate, it was not an easy decision. We had been married about 15 years, and we had 2 children. So it was, things at home just were too bad. We couldn't live together anymore. So we decided to separate. In my mind, I was separating because things were too bad for us to live together, but I wanted to go to counseling, and I wanted to try to save my marriage. I was informed pastorally that, as far as God is concerned, you are still married. You're just as married as the day that you say, I do. You don't separate to go date someone else. You don't separate to, go move in with someone else. That's not what you're doing. You are separating with the intent to try to save the marriage. Now, some people separate because it's just not going to work. We got married for the wrong reasons, or he's stepping out or she's stepping out, and this is not going to work. Go get divorced. Because the separation is not a fun place to be. It feels like you're in limbo. And you're not, when you're trying to do the right thing, you are emotional. We are emotional creatures, and you see other people and you start living, you're lonely and you desire other people, but that's not right. So it came, I was separated for 3 years. And we counseled, and it just came to a point where something happened that really opened my eyes. Like, he has no intent on coming back here.
Did he date while you were separated?
He
See,
did.
that's what I'm saying. So you gotta be, I know that we're supposed to be obedient. I'm not saying it like
Right.
that. But our human side said, oh, he gets to date, but I can't. Our human side, I know the biblical side, but our human side is real, right?
Right.
Didn't you
It
feel
is.
like that?
Yeah,
Oh, he gets to get all
absolutely.
companied up?
It is, and it's hurtful, so you get, it's really, really hurtful, so it's, and of course it was never, oh yeah, I'm dating this girl. I was finding things out, so as you find things out, then they lie about it, and you just, I was like, I'm not going to be attached to something like it. So that's when it got to the point where I was getting divorced. It took about a year for my divorce to become final. Some of it was financial reasons. Some of it was me. Just making sure that I was doing the right thing, seeing is God going to turn this thing around in the midnight hour or whatever. But, once it was final, I was okay with it. But no, you absolutely should not date while you are still married.
I have a question.
Yes.
What in the case of someone who's dealing with an abusive relationship, someone who's in a relationship where the partner may be one person, and then over time they changed and became abusive or just miserable, or they're making your life miserable. At what point do you say enough is enough and move on?
When there have counseling, I'm a big believer in counseling. So once I was okay with becoming divorced, because of course divorce is a big issue with Christians. So once I was satisfied that I had done everything that I possibly knew to do to save my marriage, then that's when I was okay with moving forward with the divorce. So if you are in an abusive relationship and the other person is not trying to change, not willing to get help, not trying to do anything different, then you need to decide if you're going to stay or if you're going to go. If you're going to go, get divorced. Don't take your stuff into some other person.
So you still believe you have to physically wait a year, technically,
I
in
never
order to
said a
date?
year. I never said a year.
That's what it takes to divorce, about a year.
No, it depends.
It could take longer than a year.
It
So
can take longer.
You're suggesting.
It can be longer, and it can be
let me
short. It
clarify.
depends on what's involved. But yes, because
You're
you know
suggesting
what?
that technically
it
you
takes-
have to wait physically a year to a year and a half to begin your life again.
Well, you know what? I would recommend that, because being married, one thing that I didn't anticipate with being married was that once it was over, that it still hurt. So when you separate, you're breaking apart a union, and I didn't realize how painful it could be. So you need to give yourself that time. If you're coming out of an abusive relationship, you're not okay. You're not okay to jump into
You're
another
not okay. We're
relationship.
going to go to a break and come back. You have a question and you have a question. We're going to go to a break. But you're right. You're not okay. But sometimes people feel differently. But this is Single on a Saturday Night. Thank you to alvinastyles.com for the jewelry. Thank you so much for bringing the jewelry to accent the Single on a Saturday Night t-shirts. And, of course, the all-new Lotus Beauty Spa in the Cedarbrook Plaza. She gets my hair. Let me tell you about the hair. This hair makes people, I'm walking down South Street, just walking around in my business, a girl, female, comes up to me and says, I like your hair, and touches me. And I said, you know, I'm going to just credit that to Lotus Beauty Spa. Thank you so much. But listen, she touched me. Thank you, Lotus Beauty Spa, for all my curls. Let's go to a break.
Come on, let's make some noise here. How many know we can't make it without him? Come on, let's give God praise. Come on, open up your mouth. God, we magnify you and we give you the glory. We honor you. We can't make it without you. Come on, let the people say, I can't make it. Say, hey. I can't make it without you. I can't make it. Jesus, I can't live. Tell them, say, you, my, and you give me strength. Say, I can't make it without you. Come on, do it again. Say, I can't make it. No way, I can't make it without you. Say, I can't do it. Make it, Jesus, I can't live. Say, you are, yeah, my, and you give me strength. Say, I can't make it, can never go without them. Hey, I need you, like the river needs water. Yes, sir, come on. Like a son needs his father, like a baby needs his favorite toy. You bring me joy. Yeah, like a son needs his father, like a baby needs. Yes, sir. Come on, clap your hands. Say, I can't make it, can't make it, can't. Say, no, I can't do it. And never go without you. Jesus, I can't live without you. You are, and you give me strength. Say, I can't do it, can't make it, can't. Jesus, ooh, I need you. Yes, sir, like the river needs, like a son needs his father, like a baby needs his favorite toy. You bring me joy. Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Like a baby needs. Come on, we're going to give God praise here. And I'll praise you forever. I worship you. Forever. I praise you, I praise you, I praise you. Come on, let me hear you make some noise right here. And you say, I praise you. Forever. I worship you. Yeah, forever. I praise you. I praise you. Stay right there. One more time, we gonna sing it again, and you declare, I praise you. Forever. I worship you. With my hands lifted, I praise you. I praise you. Here we go. Let's tell God the praises go up. Say, the praises go up. Hey, come on, you lift your hand and say, up. Don't you know he'll make a way? Oh, I praise you. One more time, you say the praises go up. Yes, sir. We magnify your name. You're every day the same. You. Yes, sir. We praise you. I praise you. where the praises go up, 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 up. When we lift our hands and we give your name all the glory, because you revived us to live. Oh, 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 oh. Tell God, I praise you. Come on, one more time, say the praises go up. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that you've done for me, then my soul cries out, hallelujah. I praise forever. I praise you. Here we go, do it again. The praises go. Yes, sir. We magnify your name. You're every day the same. We praise you. I praise you. Hey, hey. Yes, sir. Come on, you give them the glory. Then we thank them for redemption story. Over and over and over, I praise you. Yes, sir. Come on, the praises go in my life. When I look back over the things that you brought me through, I can say I depend on you, and I praise you forever and ever. One more time, lift your hand up, Lord. We lift you higher and higher, higher and higher and higher. Oh, tell God, I praise you. Now we give him a shout. Give him praise. Hallelujah. Yes, sir.
Welcome back to Single on Saturday Night. We're talking about should a Christian date or non-Christian whomever date someone who is not divorced. They're separated but not divorced. We have a comment? Go.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly speak to the issue. It was mentioned about if you're in an abusive marriage, which I was in an abusive marriage, and during that time period, we were together for maybe 3 months before the abuse started. He was removed from the home. Because I was married and intentional about the commitment that I made to God, we went to counseling for quite a while, got back together the next year. A few months later, the abuse started again. So that was 2012. We did not get divorced until the end of 2015. So during that time, there was no dating anyone else for a number of reasons. One, because I was still married. I was still in a covenant. Although a dysfunctional covenant, I was still in a covenant. I also was not ready. When you're in a relationship, and especially a marriage, you have to heal from what you've been through, abusive or not. You have to learn about yourself as a single person again. So does it take time to get a divorce? Yes. Mine took 3 months after waiting 4 years. But for some folks, legally it could take longer. But instead of rushing into something else and potentially damaging another person, it makes sense to take that time to focus on you and learn yourself. If you are not financially available to get divorced, then you are not financially available to be in a relationship. If you have separated emotionally and physically from a person, then get a divorce before you start dating another person.
All right.
So I see this from both perspectives. As a divorcee, when I was coming out of my marriage, my ex-husband had stepped out. And when I started dating again, I was not fully divorced. We were going through the process of divorce, and so it wasn't a matter of if we were going to do it. It was being done, right? So at that point, I really wasn't looking for my next full relationship. What I needed at that point was just simply companionship. I just needed that person to be there that had my back. However, make no mistake, I did pray on it, because God has to be first in everything that you do. And I'm not saying that it was condoned, what I did. What I'm simply saying is I still kept my relationship with God open. And going back to the word that people spoke of earlier, which was discernment. I asked for that gift of discernment. I've been single ever since. I have not been in a full-fledged relationship for the last 4 years, because it does take time to relearn you all over again and understand who you are and what makes you tick before you decide to get into a full-fledged relationship with somebody else. So I see it from both perspectives.
Understood. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm from the perspective that says no. Like, I love the young lady said that you have to clean your house before you move on. 9 times out of 10, if you're in a marriage or relationship with anybody, Maya Angelou had a saying that says, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
So you should take your hints and red flags early on, and I just believe in a clean break. And why rush to be in a relationship with another one? We should rush to be in relationship with God first, totally. That way he'll work from the inside out and bring you your perfect mate.
Absolutely.
But right before we get there, but I just that's one of those comments that is great. It's a beautiful commentary,
good, right?
and that's what needs to be heard. But you're preaching to the choir in this particular room because, like my brother said, most folks are going from there.